I'm Elaine Clayman from the Elaine Clayman Justine Bray team at Brown Harris Stevens, and welcome to our Tuesday talks. We are very much inclined to keep all of our buyers and sellers up to date on the market by the minute, so you know what's going on, and you know you're always hearing accurate truths from me, because I always want to be very transparent. We are very happy today. I am very happy today because we're going to be speaking to Seth Steifman, who is on, I would say, the majority of our sales, and he's on them because he has the most responsive mechanism there. If I email him at 11 o'clock at night, I get an email back. If I email him at 6 in the morning, I get an email back. And he, with his associate, Ellen Dougherty, have been just incredible. So, Seth, I welcome you to our Tuesday talks, and good morning, good afternoon, whatever it is right now.
Good afternoon, Elaine. Thank you so much for the kind introduction. We very much enjoy working with you and your team, and I'm very happy and pleased to be here today to talk with you and those who will view this video about the necessity to wear masks in co-ops.
Yes, yeah, I was really shocked, Seth, when I read the article in the New York Times, and I immediately called you to say, is this possible? It seems that there's a co-op in Riverdale that has instituted fining residents who are in the public spaces. And I thought, I'm not saying I'm for or against it, but I'm just saying, is this legal? Can they do that? So what's your take on this?
Well, certainly some co-ops do have the ability to fine shareholders for not correctly abiding by the terms of the proprietary lease, the rules and regulations, the bylaws, etc. So in the event that you violate any building rule, whether it be wearing masks, leashing your dogs, turning down music after 11 o'clock, not covering 80% of your floors, no smoking in the hallway policy, the building may have the ability to fine you, but that's based on the governing co-op documents. So in the event a co-op incorrectly fines a resident and their underlying governing documents do not permit for fines, a court would not be able to reasonably uphold that fine. However, I personally think it's a good policy that there are fines in place, and there's a tool or a mechanism by which a co-op can enforce its building rules other than, in theory, evicting its shareholders, which would be very difficult to do, very time consuming. So it's really a tool or a mechanism to do so.
So Seth, but masks wouldn't be, maybe in the future it'll be in the bylaws, but I would imagine wearing masks is not in the bylaws currently. So how does that work?
Well, in that, firstly, as you know, there is an executive order from Andrew Cuomo that it is necessary to wear a mask in a public space in which you cannot socially distance. Okay, and then co-ops in and of themselves have their ability to make their own rules and regulations. So yes, a co-op can amend its bylaws to state that there is a requirement to wear a mask in the public areas when it's not possible to socially distance.
So Seth, this question, how would a co-op board enforce that? Somebody finds somebody not wearing a mask and they choose not to pay the fine, whatever that fine might be.
Well, firstly, in the event people do not pay fines or maintenance or late fee, the co-op is going to put it on the maintenance bill and add it to the maintenance bill. So at some point in time, whether you sell or you refinance your mortgage, it is going to be recaptured by the co-op. They have the ability to do that.
Wow. So that's very interesting. They will get you sooner or they will get you later, and but they'll keep the building safe. That's really pretty interesting. So I can't see it being used by a co-op as a big revenue stream. I would imagine it's really about help versus revenue.
Oh, well, that's exactly it. I mean, none of the penalties are enforced to generate revenue. To the contrary, they're there to deter behavior that is not permitted. So you're exactly right. I mean, if there, firstly, not all co-ops at the current time have the ability to enforce fines. Okay, so what they would first have to do is speak to their building lawyer and make sure that their governing documents permit the levying of fines. Okay, then they can narrow, if they want to, or make it broad as to what actions are fine, can be fined. Is it a mere violation of some broad provision in the proprietary lease, or do you want to specifically, as you mentioned, add something that failure to wear masks could generate a fine? Some co-ops that have fines in place will first give a warning, then we'll implement a fine of a certain amount of money, and then later on a third event, we'll implement a fine of a greater sum. And if that's not working, they can take action to actually terminate the proprietary lease and evict the shareholder.
That would be pretty stringent. Now, I know this article was about co-ops, but does a condo have an equal ability to impose a fine on residents who don't comply?
I believe they will, with reference to the common areas of the building, and because you do own a % common interest in the building. So, I encourage each individual condominium to speak to their counsel and see what the documents say and see if there's a way to implement the same sort of procedure. But certainly there are rules and regulations in a condo that need to be followed as well. So I think along the same line of reasoning, one would be able to put something in effect that would be enforceable in court.
It's really fascinating. Seth, I really so appreciate you joining us today, and I hope you will for further legal questions. If there's somebody who wants to reach out to you about their sale or purchase, or about these new potential rules, maybe somebody from a board, can you tell everyone, and we can certainly post it as well, how they might reach you, Seth?
Sure. Well, our firm is Fetterman Steifman, LLP. We're located at 220 East 42nd Street in New York City. And the phone number is 212-994-9963. I can be reached at extension 102, I believe. And Ellen can be reached at extension 108. And we are happy to help at any time. My email address, as Elaine may post if she'd like, is Steifman, S-T-E-I-F like Frank, M-A-N, at Fetterman, F-E-D-E-R-M-A-N, Steifman.com.
And
thanks, Elaine, so much.
Steifman and leaving off the T, even though we've been doing business for years. So sorry about that.
Oh, that's fine.
You can misspell my name if you want. Anyway,
Okay.
Thank you very much, Seth. I really appreciate you being with us. Take care.
Thanks for having me.